You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, right now it is me in studio, just by myself, doing a solo episode here. Super excited about being with you guys on another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. And by the way, thank you so much for all of you guys that have been leaving reviews. I see them come in now that the podcast is live, and it's just really, really cool to see the warm reception. So if you have left a 5-star review, know that I appreciate you big time. It really does help the YouTube and algorithm gods and podcast gods, you know, the algorithms that apparently are in control of the universe, right? So AI is taking over. If you haven't left us a review, hey, take 10 seconds, look down at your phone, hit 5-star, and if you want to leave a sentence or two, let me know how we're doing. We appreciate that feedback. But today, I want to talk to you guys about how to start a lawn care business. I know it's a really simple topic and one that maybe if you are listening to this, you haven't needed an episode like this because you're already in business for yourself, right? But for a lot of folks that watch my content and have listened to all of us on YouTube, you know, a lot of folks want to start a lawn care business. They want an out. And whether it's something out of necessity, something that you thoughtfully decide to participate in and engage in and get involved in, and decide to go in business for yourself, all of them are all the above right answers, if you will. So I want to talk to you guys just for a few minutes about my story, how I got started in business, maybe some suggestions, some tips, some things I see that's out there that can maybe help you guys out, save you time, save you some money. But just in general, if you've ever thought about starting a lawn care business of your own, maybe you just even found this podcast through Google and you have no idea who I am, right? And you don't even know that we're on YouTube or something like that. I want to talk to you guys just about starting your own lawn care business, how we did it, and if I was going to do it all over again, maybe some of the things that I would do a little different.
You're a lawntrepreneur. You run your mower and your business. Take care of crabgrass and your customers. You improve curb appeal and efficiency. You do it all. And now there's Cujo, a shoe that does it all too. Trash the grass-stained athletic shoes that can't stand up to slopes or dew. Put those stiff boots in storage and forget about the fatigue and discomfort they caused. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction because the Cujo Yard Shoe is the best of both worlds. Every feature has been selected to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, we'll be there every step of the way. Check us out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
All right, guys. So here's the deal. How to start a lawn care business. I know it's one of those topics that it seems like almost every red-blooded male and young boy has, either done it when he was 10, 12, 14, 16 years old, right? Or somebody that gets into high school or college, they want to make some summer cash and have a little hustle or side hustle, or, even when you get out of college. I know there's so many people nowadays that are just so burdened with student loans and debt, and they cut lawns on the side just to make ends meet, which is totally respectful and respectable. Like, you got to do what you got to do. I've been there, done that. I've done all kinds of jobs and side hustles, and then there's a lot of folks that are 30, 40, 50 that want a career change. They get tired of corporate America. I've seen so many folks that are 60, 65, they retire, and Social Security ain't going to do it when you're making $1,100 a month, and maybe you don't have the mortgage paid off just yet. You got 4 or 5 years left, and so you supplement on the side. It's crazy. I've seen the whole gamut of people that get into our industry and our business, and I'm really excited about doing episodes like this, solo episodes where I can just maybe share my 2 cents and what's worked for me, what hasn't worked, and just what I've seen out there in the marketplace today. Just to take it back, when I got started in lawn care landscaping, with my own business, it was out of necessity. I was 20 years old. I had just left Little Caesars. I got fired from that job, and it was a good job. It was a good gig. I enjoyed it. I know I didn't want to do fast food forever, right? But at the same point, it was still a good job. I was 18, 19 years old. It was 37 grand a year, 33 base plus bonus. I was clearing 40 almost. And, the second year I would have definitely cleaned up, early or low 40s. And so That was 15, plus years ago. That's in today's money, it's probably 50, 60 grand a year, like most fast food managers can make. And that's totally doable. So I got fired from there and I said, well, crap. I don't have a college degree. I don't know what to do next. To be totally honest with you guys, I was scared. I was afraid. I was scared. I still had, decent little bills. I still had back then a $203, Hyundai Elantra car payment. That was my chariot of choice. That was my sexy mobile back then, white on rust. And so I still had that payment. I still had car insurance, right? I think cell phones were just coming on the scene, and back in the day, 2005, I think I had my old blue Motorola flip phone, and that was probably $50 to $100 a month. For the unlimited cell phone plan, right? We paid for text messaging back then. Remember those days? 5 cents a text, or you get free 200 text messages a month. I think I now send 200 text messages a day, let alone per hour. So anyway, and I probably needed $1,000 a month. I was living at home. I was 19, 20 years old. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, crap, I need money. And actually, my unemployment was denied because I got fired. Now, that was later reversed and found wrongfully fired or let go. And I got my back pay or whatever you want to call it on unemployment. But dude, I was fresh out. Like, I didn't have any money coming in. And so I worked at True Green. This is the abridged version. I worked at True Green because I saw a route manager. And I was like, I'm a manager, route manager. To me, that's a lateral move. And so I didn't know that meant being inside a tanker truck. What a way to market that position, right? So I jumped onto True Green. I did an interview at 10 a.m. one morning, and I still remember all those guys, Craig and what was the other guy's name? I'm trying to remember, but Kevin and Craig, man, at my old branch. And if they ever listen to this, hey, I'm still out there, guys, in the green industry. Still made it. The guy was like, hey, what's your background? What do you want to do? I told him what I just told you guys. And I said, he goes, hey, you ever thought about a career in fertilizer and turf management? No, but for $12 an hour, I'm your guy, right? So I started that, and he goes, good, we'll see you at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's some take home stuff. Nobody, extra shirts and pants and rubber boots, no tags on it, and just a fresh extra pair of, clothes from Service Master or whatever, the Aramark, clothing. You guys, if anybody's ever worn a uniform in their life, man, you guys have been there, done that. And that is not something I wish upon anybody long term, but I had to play the cards and play the game. So, 5 a.m. the next morning, I'm walking into the True Green branch in Wixom, Michigan, and I'm like, what am I doing? The smells, the first time, I was like, this is different. Now, I did like being outdoors, even though it was a bunch of chemicals. You guys got to realize I was inside a stinky old greasy Pizza Hut or Little Caesars, pizza restaurant for 10, 12 hours a day, nights and weekends. I mean, I had never seen 4 to 10 p.m. for like 2.5 years. I was always a closer guy. So I'd go in at 10, 12 in the afternoon, 10 a.m., 12 in the afternoon, 2 to 10, 4 to midnight. That was my shift, man. So I was happy to work a morning job. I was happy to be outside. It was a completely different environment, I think I grew 6 inches that summer because I finally got some vitamin D. I finally, was out there actually growing up, you know what I mean? Because I had been cooped up under fluorescent lighting. So anyway, the lengthy intro, but the reason I give all those words and say all that thought behind it is that when I was working at True Green, I had already, again, realized I wanted out. I wanted to be my own boss. I flip the table, if you will. When I left Little Caesars, I said, I'll never work for anybody ever again. And one day I'm going to figure out how to be self-employed, right? My dad was actually a painter. My dad was a painter. He was self-employed. I saw him make his own schedule. I saw him make some pretty good money when he wanted to work. And he had some pretty good flexibility and control on his time and the jobs he took on. And so I guess you could kind of say I had it in my DNA a little bit. That's kind of where it ended. Didn't really get much more guidance or coaching or mentorship or influence like that from my dad or anything like that. But I did know hard work, and I experienced that from my mom and my dad, even though they were divorced right at a young age. So I go to work at True Green, and you guys have all heard my story, my Baywatch moment when 2 guys jumped out, and I was like, dude, they jumped out of their trailer. They're mowing grass, making $30. I'm in my tanker truck, hating life, and I said, that's it. I'm going to cut grass. So that's just to give you guys the abridged version if you've never heard my entire story. Now, when you're asking the question how to start a lawn care business, here's the reality, guys. So many folks have so many different pieces of advice, and here's mine. Mine is really simply you got to know where you're at, and then you got to kind of know the next few steps, right? And you got to kind of slow down to speed up. But I also will say this, that you got to work fast. If you want to start your own business, you can't pussyfoot around, right? You got to decide, you know what, that's it. I'm throwing off the rope. I'm throwing off the anchors to the shore, and I'm sending my boat into deep water. That was kind of my attitude. Here's what I will also say. I was 19, 20 years old. I didn't even know how to spell my name forward. You know what I mean? My eyes were still crossed. I was a babe. Okay. I was a young kid, man. I'm not the 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids you see today on YouTube, that have just so much information and access to the world and to the internet. It was 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It was a different world. Now, you guys have heard Christian with CNI Services on my podcast. The kid's 17 years old, and he's got a handful of employees, and the kid's probably making $70,000. Okay. It's just insane. That wasn't my story. My story was I was 20. I was broke. I had no credit, no cash, no nothing. A little bit of credit, I should say, because I had my car and maybe one or two other smaller purchases, right? But I didn't have anything else going on. But I knew I wanted to be self-employed, and I knew that I had cut grass when I was 10, 12, 15 years old. I had a good little hustle going, right? Like 10 or 12 lawns on the weekend, and making $200, $10 an hour back cutting trailer park lawns, and early probably 2000s, late 90s maybe, and I really enjoyed it. And so when I decided to go in business for myself, my thought process was, all right, I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna figure out how to pass out flyers. Remember, we had no resources, no lawn forum, no Facebook groups, no YouTube, no Instagram, no nothing, right? No Launchpreneur Academy, with a cool, commercial. We didn't have any of that crap. But I said, I'm going to start a lawn care business. And I knew really simply I needed, we're going to be really, really basic and remedial here, like third grade level, because, well, quite honestly, that was the last grade I aced. Okay. So in third grade, at third grade level, I had, realized that I needed a mower, a trimmer, a blower, and, an edger was kind of optional. Right. So what I did, and this is just being real, like my first mower, believe it or not, when I was working at True Green, I was starting to hustle nights and weekends. I had an old push mower that was like one of my old green ones. It was left over, maybe 6 horsepower. And dude, I'm 20 years old. I'm working at True Green. I get done every day at 2, 3, 4 p.m. And I just started letting everybody know that when I was, 10, 12, 15 years old, I'm back in business, right? And they're all like, oh, thank God. Like we haven't had anybody reliable for 5 years. We've been using all these other Yahoos. We'll be more than happy to sign back up with you. Or, same rate. I'm like, yeah, dude, $12, $14. Ooh, you're a corner lot, $15, right? Like we were killing it. And so anyway, I was cutting with my old leftover push mower. And I just realized like, well, volume wise, this isn't going to keep up. So, sometime that summer, I had decided that I was going to do this thing and go all in. And so I bought a 48-inch Viking Hydro walk behind. So I guess if you want to do the takeaway, how to start a lawn care business, here's take one. You got to get a decent mower. And I'm not going to, go down every rabbit hole for, 20 minutes, but you got to start with a good mower. And I would say a good 33, 36, 48, push mower, or walk behind mower is a really good start. There's all kinds of good ones from Ferris and Skag and Exmark, of course. I'm a big Exmark guy. I did a video on YouTube, the best lawnmower under 5,000, and I did the 48-inch Turf Tracer walk behind mower. And today it might be $5,500, maybe $6,000, but you can get used ones for $3, $4, $5,000 all day long. And so when you're just getting started, you just need to get a decent mower. You don't need a 60-inch, mower that's $12,000. You don't need a $9,000 stand-on. You don't even need a $5,000 walk-behind mower. I mean, you can get started with a, $800 to $1,500 walk-behind. It might even be a little bit older. It might have pistol grips. It might be belt-driven. But dude, if the spindles are if the spindles are nice and the blades are sharp, you can cut grass and lay stripes. It does not have to be anything fancy. Now, I didn't know anything about the industry, but I was already doing research, and I'm like, all right, I want a good walk behind. Again, I had a 21-inch push mower that I was cutting in my trailer parks, and I just realized, well, 21 inches takes me 30 minutes, 48 inches will take me 10 minutes. It was like a math equation, right? And so I went to Weingart's. They're like, how's your credit? I'm like, I don't know. Decent. You know, I'm 19 years old. They're like, all right, let's run it, see what you get. I think we put in for, it was $5,000, 5,300 out the door with tax. I think they put in for 6, right? And that's it. I was in business. I remember my old sales guy, Pat. Anybody from Weingart's ever listens to this, they know Pat. He's a way old retired guy. He was old even in today's standards. Like he was a good guy, but he was old. But he knew what I wanted, what I needed, because I walked in there. I'm like, well, I need a Quest 42-inch, and my idea was I'm going to put this in the back of my brother's Dodge Durango, which my younger brother who left his car at my house because he was at Michigan State. So I was like, all right, let's do this thing, right? I'm gonna use this Dodge Durango and put this X-Mark Quest, like little 40-inch residential commercial-ish kind of mower, put it in the back of his truck with ramps. I still to this day have no idea what I'm thinking, and I mean, it's just a little miracle that we're still here, right? So anyway, he's like, no, that's probably not what you need. You know, you need a good walk behind, 48-inch staple walk behind. That'll be good for your business as it grows. And later you want to get one of these big 0-turn tank kind of a mowers, right? And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we ran that for probably about 2 or 3 months. You know, my how to start a lawn care business. You need a good mower, whether it's a good 48-inch, 36-inch walk behind. It doesn't have to be fancy. The paint doesn't have to be, you know, brand new. For me, I just knew I wanted something new. I could float $149 or whatever it was back in the day. I think it was like $175 a month. Now, that same season, I passed out flyers like crazy. I knew that I was making $18,000 a year at True Green. I remember like my last 6 months of income, it was 18 grand, you know, gross. And I was like, you know what? All right, if I can make 18 grand gross, then I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this thing full time. Well, long story short, fast forward, I got a couple accounts. I got my new mower, and I'm going into the next season, and True Green lets me go. True Green, it was kind of like they didn't fire me. I didn't really like, you know, quit. It was just like this awkward like separation. Like I come back the next spring for, you know, PPE and safety training and spray training, and like, yeah, like we replaced the driver in your truck. Like we thought you were doing that lawn care thing full time. I'm like, I was planning to work full time and then do lawn care nights and weekends until, you know, I had, you know, 40 grand a year coming in or something like that, and I could walk away, right? Well, that didn't happen. And so, you know, push come to shove, you know, I'm stuck in a corner. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Well, okay, here we go. Let's do this full time, right? So I decide to start my lawn care business, like for real. This is like probably 2006, 2007, something like that. And I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. Let's make it happen. So what happened is I went ballistic, like gangbusters, passing out flyers. I didn't even have the intelligence to drive in a vehicle on the other side of the road and pass out flyers and handbill, you know, post mailbox to mailbox. I literally walked my entire city where I live in Wixom, Michigan. I walked every single subdivision. Go look it up on a map. Look up the epicenter of Wixom, Michigan. Go north of half a mile. And every single subdivision you see, I walked the whole thing. I probably walked 20 miles in like a day. You know what I'm saying? I walked sun up to sundown. I had 3 neighborhood kids that were 2 houses down. I said, hey, I'll buy all of you guys ice cream if you want to roll with me. We'll all go walk door to door in all the subdivisions down the road. I had my little Hyundai. I literally kidnapped like 14-year-old kids. We're all buds anyway. I'm 19. My friend Brandon, you guys know Brandon. He's maybe 15 at the time. A couple other, his younger brother, sister. I just remember it yesterday, dude. I gave them all flyers. I said, go knock on everybody's door, hand them a flyer. If they don't answer, stick the flyer in the door, and then go to the next one. We didn't walk on people's sidewalks. We went lawn to lawn and just cut through, like, just literally the goofiest start to any lawn care business ever, right? And but it worked, man. I passed out a couple thousand, like probably 4,000 or 5,000 flyers. Maybe had a couple $100 in flyers. My flyers were so remedial, it's not even funny. Like 12-year-old kids can design better flyers than what I handed out. Mine literally said who, what, when, where, why, and how. That was my marketing back then. Who? I'm Brian Fullerton with Brian's Lawn Care, I think. And then I switched it to Brian's Lawn Maintenance because when I went to register, Brian's Lawn Care was taken, like legally in the county, right, or the state. And then the what? We're cutting your lawn every week. Bi-weekly is an option. that's how much I didn't know. We offered bi-weekly back then, and that's a whole nother story why I did my don't do bi-weekly video. Took me 8 years to figure it out, but what did I know? The when, every week or every other week. The why. I'm here to start my lawn care business in your town. I'm from Troop 42. I want to service your house. Anyway, sorry, my brain works in like commercials. If you ever remember the old Whammy game, from the 80s and 90s, the game show. That's how my brain works, and no wonder I enjoy YouTube, right? Because that's how my brain works. Just comes at you really quick. So anyway, it's literally a miracle. So every day in February, I was sweating bullets because I didn't get an invite back to True Green. March is coming. I'm like, dude, I got bills, bro. Like unemployment's running out, the whole deal. And so then the phone rang. And dude, I sold my tail off. I'm like, yeah, dude, we'll be the best lawn care person ever. Yes, like we're $20 and everybody else is $25. I was undercutting. Yes, we'll take care of your property, the whole deal. And this is important. Like, hopefully you guys appreciate this story. I just sold. Like, I remember going into people's homes and they're like, who are you? We've never seen you before. I'm like, look, I said, I'm Brian's Lawn Maintenance. I'm going to be tearing it up. I'm your guy. Like, pick me. The other guy, he sucks. He's probably a scam artist. And he's probably a pedal bear. Okay. Like I was just making stuff up, man. You need to go with me. The other guy, he's a creeper. Okay. He doesn't have insurance. I was just making stuff up. So literally, boom, I get a new customer. I'm like, okay, well, $20 a week, that's $80 a month. If they prepay, okay, this, carry the two. All right, that's about $400 or $500 a year, right? Okay, so 18,000 minus 500, I'm down to 17,500. All right, I need 29 more customers or whatever, right? Phone call rings. Hey, I'm Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Yes, yeah, we can take care of your lawn. And so literally, I'm sweating bullets. I'm going into like mid-March, and I was about to go back to True Green and beg and sell because I had like 4 people signed up. I really wasn't like all in. And then literally the season hit. We got that 50-degree week in Michigan. And anybody in the Midwest probably knows what I'm talking about. Everybody wears shorts. They wear T-shirts. The windows are all down. Everybody's having a good. It's 48 degrees. Okay. The week before we got 8 inches of snow, but now it's spring. And when you're cooped up in the Midwest and you're cooped up in the house for five months straight, 50 degrees feels like 80 in summertime, like you're down in Orlando. Okay, so we're all having fun. We're outside, if you can imagine the picture, and the phone started to ring. And I was like, all right, here we go. 17,000 is what I need left to replace my income. 16,500, 16. I mean, I was like a telethon, man. It was like a literal telethon, signing people up. And I remember I had my little netbook. If you guys remember netbooks, those lasted for about 3 minutes. And I had my little like Excel spreadsheet on it back in the day. And I had like a black and a green and a red, a little color coordination there because I was a professional, and it's just funny. So I remember when I put in all these different routes, I had like 4 on Monday, 4 on Tuesday, 4 on Wednesday, 6 on the whole deal. I had like let's say 22 accounts, and dude, $18,000. We hit it. Now, let's not get caught up in like net versus gross and, how much money I actually made, which is probably $12. Nothing was legit. I was just completely making stuff up. And if you're getting started this way, dude, you got to realize that's okay. Like it's not okay forever. Okay. Especially with a YouTube resource channel like mine and the Entrepreneur Academy and so many great folks that make great content. But again, I'm just taking you back to keeping it real. This is how I got started. And so when I had $19,000 come in, I was like, all right, I'm doing this thing full time. And I know what it's like to sell $20,000 in 6 weeks and sell yourself. I mean, literally, you can't out hustle me when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay. Like I know what I did to get my business established and it felt good. And I'm telling you, I went through like a metamorphosis as a human being. I was shy. I didn't talk to people. I didn't nothing, I didn't know how to organize. And all of a sudden I was like, all right, dude, like we're in business. We have hats, we have shirts. We're just like the stuff you guys do. Right. And so anyway, let's keep it going. So I'm in business. I'm ready to rock and roll. And how to start your lawn care business. You got to get a good mower. You got to get a good marketing effort, right? And you can get high tech. You can be low tech. Doesn't make any difference to me. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Just a little trip down memory lane with my first mower, that 48-inch Viking walk behind. As we went into the season, I had about 3 months on that mower, which is kind of where I suggest people that they log that time on that mower first before you buy a sulky, because you can you can get hurt on a sulky, dude. Like sulkies are no joke. Anybody who listen to this riding a sulky right now, like, like you can jackknife those things. If you don't know how to back up with a hydro, let alone a belt drive, for crying out loud, you can jackknife it. You can puncture a tire. You can, crush your ankle. Okay. Sulkies are the quiet killer. Okay. Hopefully nobody ever gets hurt on a sulky, just having fun. But I bought one of those and I said, well, the walk behind mower, it goes, let's say 5 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, walking fast, walking forward, probably more like 3.5, 4 miles an hour. Right. And then I was like, well, if I can get a sulky and go 6 miles an hour, we're going to double our productivity, double our profitability. And it was true. The sulky literally doubled my walking speed, doubled my productivity. Dude, we were in business. Okay, we were going from cutting 6, 8, 10 lawns a day to 12, 14, 18 lawns a day with a walk behind, a little bit of decent route density, and things were going really, really well. Talking about equipment, man. It's just funny how things come full circle when we start talking hand tools and all this stuff, because now, because we do YouTube and we've had some success. I won't say we're successful with YouTube. I just said we have some success. Companies want to send us products and send us all this, stuff. And guys, come on, what would you do? Of course, you're going to say yes. Oh, I don't want to sacrifice integrity by taking a blower. Okay, I haven't sacrificed integrity. I just used their blower. Okay, let's keep it remedial. Remember, if somebody wants to send a blower, sure, we'll review it and we'll keep an honest review. And that's what we always. That's the hook. As long as we can say whatever we want, I'll accept your product. Okay, and so it's funny now because we get a bunch of crap sent to us and. By the grace of God, my finances are way more blessed with my lawn care business, being way more profitable the last 24 months. But before that, I struggled to buy equipment. When I say I know how much it means to buy a $600 backpack blower, I do. I know the sacrifice, because it's dude, it might as well be $6,000 or $60,000 to me today. Okay, I know that impact. So let's do this. Let's hit a quick break. My voice has got a crack. Let's hit a quick announcement here, and then I want to start talking about hand tools and basic equipment and give you guys kind of the lay of the land of what you're going to need next as you grow your business and how to start a lawn care landscaping business.
You're a lawntrepreneur. You run your mower and your business. Take care of crabgrass and your customers. You improve curb appeal and efficiency. You do it all. And now there's Cujo, a shoe that does it all too. Trash the grass-stained athletic shoes that can't stand up to slopes or dew. Put those stiff boots in storage and forget about the fatigue and discomfort they caused. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction, because the Cujo Yard Shoe is the best of both worlds. Every feature has been selected to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, we'll be there every step of the way. Check us out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
So let's talk about hand tools, right? Because where I live up in Michigan, we have a great dealer, Weingarts, the Weingarts family, and it's a huge Red Max dealer. But I didn't get started with Red Max, okay? I got started with Echo. And so that's why I kind of have a soft spot. We do a lot of stuff with Echo. They've, been a sponsor at our live event in the fall. Just great people there in general. People have come, people have went, part of the Echo company, but honestly, they're all just really good people. They're really stand-up folks. So when I got started, just like a lot of you guys, I got started with Home Depot. I got started with a Home Depot trimmers, the SRM 225. In fact, I'll take it back. I got started with the, I don't know the exact SKU, but the GT or the GMT 225, the bent shaft trimmer. Okay. That's how, dude, I didn't know what I didn't know. And if you have that, it's a good trimmer. Okay. Don't throw it into the woods right now while you're listening to this. But I got started with the SRM 225, the 225. I think there's a new one the 3620 or the 360 or something like that. There's one replacing it that's a little bit of a step up, but I think it's available only at dealers. But that's what I got started with. And you know what? It was a great weed whip. Maybe 179 or 219. It's still a great. I know so many guys they just run them because they're quick, they're fast, they're powerful. All the parts are interchangeable with other Echo pieces, and you can get all the parts right at Home Depot, and everybody's got a Home Depot within 20 minutes of them, and they're light. And honestly, if they do break down and blow up over time, you know what? You go right to Home Depot, you get another one, and it's not a $350 weed whip that maybe your guys will lose them. And so that was my first like big dog weed whip, man. Like, and that I can still lay a mean edge on a sidewalk, trim in, or go around a house in 10 seconds with an SRM 225. Okay, great standout trimmer. But for blowers, I had an old like Husqvarna like 150 BT or whatever that thing is. It was way old school. Like it was an old thing. I think I got it off of like Craigslist or something like that back in the day. And my backpack blowers went from that to a 5150. Or maybe it's an EBZ 5000. I think the 5150 would be like the new version of it, right? And so I had my little trimmer. I had my little Red Max 5000. Now, here's the deal. That's the next couple things you're going to need with your business. You need a good mower. And again, it doesn't have to be super sharp, super fancy. In fact, if you're just getting started in business, you probably don't need $8,000 to $12,000 zero turn and a $7,000 to $9,000 stand on. I would usually discourage people from doing that. Now, if you're gonna get started, get like a 36, get a 42 or a 48. Get a good name brand unit, but find something that's used. Decide if you want to even do the industry for 2 or 3 years as you get into it. Because telling you what, man, it is a meat grinder. It looks fun. But it's a lot of work. But those mowers, as you grow your business, then become your backup mowers. They then become your rear gated backyard, rear of the house type mowers, right? But eventually you have to start your business with something that can do both front and back. And if you just buy a big ass zero turn, or big old walk behind or stander, like a 52 or a 60-inch walk behind, or stander, you can't get that in the backyard. So that's where you see those 32s and 36s really come into play. So as you grow your business and how to start a lawn care business, you guys know what mower to get now. You know the marketing effort, the hustle that it's going to take. At least that was my story. Yours might be a little different. And then for hand tools, you're going to need a good trimmer and a good blower. As remedial as it is, that's kind of like the next two things. Now, for trimmers, whether you're Steel, your Echo, or Red Max, or Husqvarna, or Maruyama, those are all totally up to you. They all make really good units. Everybody's got their volume commercial unit, if you will. Like Steel, it might be a 91 or a 94R. Red Max, a 260 TS, an Echo, a 2620, right? Husqvarna, maybe the 525L, I think it is, something like that. Everybody's got their like standalone main commercial volume unit that is just the popular one. So when you get your first couple $100, reinvest into good equipment. Don't go buy stupid shoes. Don't go buy Yeezys. Don't go blow it on a girl or a girlfriend. Okay. Like that stuff is fun, but honestly, like that's just stupid stuff. Okay. Reinvest. That's all I did my first handful of years, 3, 4, 5 years. I felt like I was just always reinvesting. But I did start to see the growth. I did start to see the gains. I did see the light at the end of the tunnel. It did take time. And by the way, we still reinvest. I reinvest so much money. It's not even funny, into YouTube and you guys. And I mean, hell, last year I spent in 2019 $1,100 on stickers. Okay, sticker swaps. You want a sticker? Shoot me an email. I'll get you a sticker. All right, just give me your address. And I love building community, but all the money we make from YouTube, I just literally reinvest and have fun with it and pour it back into you guys. And then low key on the side, like I've always said, that's my Tesla fund. Okay, everything we make, we're throwing it at a Tesla one day, and that would be an incredible success and journey for me, just as a selfish goal. But that's just a serendipity. You guys know that, and I appreciate you guys supporting me as I have my quest for 100,000 subscribers in a Tesla. Right, got to dream big. And so anyway. So when I was buying my equipment, I did upgrade to Red Max 260 TSs, like I said earlier, because my dealer, when I went there, and I bought that mower, that was what they sold a lot of. And I got that, Red Max 5000, EBZ 5000. And so here's the deal when you're talking about blowers. I'll give you guys the cliff notes. At the time you're buying your blower, my opinion is buy the most that you can afford. And if you can, stretch like 10%, just having fun. But like, buy the best blower you can. Now, if you get started with an Echo 580 at Home Depot, dude, that's totally fine. No big deal. It's a great blower. You get an Echo 770. They might have that at Home Depot, but probably a dealer option now. So buy that at your dealer. But an Echo 770, a Red Max EBZ 5000, even a 7500. Steel, dude, even a BR600, a BR700 is like a stretch, but a well, I don't know if it's a BR, but a CEF 450, backpack blower from Steel, amazing blowers, great options. Okay, you don't need to get the $600 blower when you're just starting out. If you got extra money after you buy the mower, after you buy your marketing materials and some hats and shirts, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna buy a really good blower and a really good trimmer. Then buy those things last. Okay, the mowers to me is your most important piece because it's going to be honestly your workhorse. Okay, again, you don't need a $300 trimmer. You can get a Home Depot $200 trimmer. It does honestly very similar things. The internals will last longer on the nicer stuff and it won't break down as fast. But let's be honest, when you're just getting started, you're not cutting 20, 30, 40 lawns a day. You're cutting 8, 10, 12 lawns a day and you're just cutting your teeth. So a 225 Echo trimmer from Home Depot will serve that job. Now, the biggest time suck for me that I notice when cutting grass, it's always the blowing of the grass. Okay. It sounds weird, but like the biggest time suck for me is not the cutting usually, especially when you get a nicer mower. It's not the trimming. It's usually the blowing. Okay. And so I'm a big advocate. Like I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, that the best money spent is on good blowers and also for your guys. So if you have a friend or a part-time helper or your business starts to expand and, all right, I'm going to get the Red Max 7500 or 8500 and, my part-time helper, he gets the 5000. Well, you're still handcuffing him, right? Like, before you start upgrading more trimmers or more mowers, upgrade your blowers. Like it might be the last thing you buy when you start, but as you start reinvesting, it should be the first place you reinvest, in my opinion, because mowers are expensive and trimming is, after you get through that first 8 weeks of spring, the wet grass and the wet growth, in the fast growth and the, spring mowing conditions, a 225 is going to slice down everything else that a 2620 will, okay, with summer growth. And especially as you go in the fall and things stop growing around the house and you just need to, blow stripes and mow and blow, mow, go, right? Those are the best times because then you actually make money. So anyway, when you're talking about blowers, Red Max 8500s, 7500s, great units. Echo, they got the 770s. One of my favorite blowers for summertime. My opinion, not the best with leaves, not a lot of CFM, great miles per hour, right? And just the calculation, the formula, just so you guys, if you're listening and you're just trying to figure this out, when you're talking about backpack blowers, there's miles per hour and there's CFM. Miles per hour is how fast that air is coming out of the tube, and CFM is the volume of air coming out of the tube, like the big air pocket, okay? When you're moving grass, you need miles per hour, okay? You need to get that stuff up to speed to shoot it into the lawn, up over the edge, and back in the lawn. And of course, you need CFM too, but when you're blowing leaves, you're looking for CFM. Now, the 770, great with grass. Unfortunately, the Achilles heel, awful in my opinion with leaves. Now, you can still blow leaves with a 770. So if you get one and you're like, oh no, dude, I just bought that one, you're fine. Not the end of the world, okay? But the 770, it just doesn't have the highest CFM compared to like a Red Max 7500, which, might have a 198 miles per hour and a high 800 CFM. An Echo 770 might have a 220, something like that miles per hour, but a 700 CFM. Okay, so all these stats vary, but it's kind of like back in video games when you're building out your favorite character, and if you move one bar here, the other bar moves down, but if you move these two bars up, for speed and acceleration, then you lose some on traction, like the good old Mario Kart type stuff or GoldenEye. So a lot of racing games like that, like Gran Turismo, little throwback there. And so anyway, when you're trying to buy blowers, try to buy one that suits what you're doing then, and then maybe as you go into the next phase of your business. A lot of folks, when you're just starting cutting grass, you probably want miles per hour. And that's why I think the 770 is a really good blower. And same thing as the Red Max 7500 and the BR 600 from Steel. Now, as your business grows, then look at the top tier blowers, right? Then you want to look at the Echo 8010. Why? Because your business is probably evolving your second, third, fourth year into doing leaf cleanups, right? You're starting to do a little bit bigger projects. Your skill set grows, your business grows, and so these things here will give you that leg up when you're doing different tasks. So you're going to need a little bit more oomph, a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more CFM. And so that's where the Echo 8010 comes into play. The Red Max 8500s, the 8550s is the new one, and then the BR 700 and 800. So if you like steel, go with steel. If you like Red Max, go with Red Max. If you're an Echo person, go with them. If you happen to be a Husqvarna person, the 580 BTS. All great units. We've used them all. We own them all. Awesome. Maruyama, the BL 9000. I liked it. The tube was a little heavy for me, but if you got Maruyama, it's still a great unit. They redesigned the plastic over the engine, so it's lasting a lot longer. Had a couple burnout issues off the record, and but overall, another great blower. Like we have them all, and we use them all. The reality is that, guys, it's me and another guy. So I have like 7 backpack blowers. I can only use 2, and we have 2 Red Max 8550s, and they're friggin' awesome. And my next up would be the Echo. It would be the Steel. It would be the Husqvarna. They're all very, very similar in caliber. Okay, don't get lost in the weeds in this one because they're all within like 3% of each other. So like people that get blue in the face about their favorite brand, guys, it's not that big of a deal. Go with what your dealer sells and supports. Don't drive 45 minutes away just because your favorite YouTuber uses Red Max. Okay, hopefully that's the takeaway. So just to talk about everything that we just did, which was your favorite mower, pick your mower first. Small gated backyard mower like a 36, whether it's a walk behind or stander. You can get those for $4,000 to $7,000. And even look at the demo units just so you guys know. A lot of times there's open houses and demos might have 20 to 100 hours on them. You can get some significant savings. Save $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, which is really, really good. And you know what? Try to negotiate a little bit. So like, hey, I want to be a customer long term. Can you knock a couple $100 off? Doesn't hurt to ask and to hustle a little bit. But most of the time, the pricing is going to be pretty fixed unless it's a factory rebate or incentive from like the manufacturer, I should say. So let's talk about last thing that I know we're going to get some questions on is edgers. So. And by the way, I'm just ripping it here in my garage. It's like 40 degrees and I got my little space heater. So I'm just hanging out with you guys. So, and when you guys get done with this, if you want to hit 5 stars, super appreciate it. I got no notes here. I'm just ripping it and hanging out, talking to you guys. When we talk about edgers, okay, edgers, an edger is an incredibly important tool. I'm part of the camp, which is have a dedicated edger. I know there's a lot of guys that have like PAS and the KM131s, the combi tools from Echo and Steel, and you get those heads, with the power heads with the attachable, edger or pruner and the articulating hedge trimmer. Those are fine, but I like dedicated units, just to be honest with you guys. When it comes to different edgers, there's the Red Max HEZ 2460. You got the Echo PB 2620. You got the Steel. I haven't used a Steel edger, just to be honest with you guys. It might be like a 110 or a 131. Not sure exactly what's out there, but I know the Steel edger. A lot of people like it. We might even be doing some things behind the scenes with Steel as we go into summer. So you might already be watching YouTube videos, and we might have a Steel edger. I don't know. We're recording this, late January here as we go into February. So when this comes out, we might already have something in our hands. I don't know. But here's the deal. A good edger is worth its weight in gold. And, in the beginning, use a trimmer to edge, okay? It's not super critical to have like the best edges when you're a new lawn care company. Now, in your second or third year, you should probably be reinvesting in an edger. Now, if you just happen to slay it your first year, in business and you can drop $400 on an edger, go for it. That wasn't my story. Just to be honest with you guys, it took me probably 2 years, 3 years to decide to buy one. But when you do, here's just my rule of thumb, just like a blower, buy the heaviest duty, the most expensive, the biggest engine one you can with the highest CC and the highest torque. Why? Because the edger, when you edge a property, whether you're rural or your subdivisions like me, you get that overgrowth, man. It's like a sod cutter, okay? Especially when you pick up new clients. Remember, always charge for edging. One rule of thumb I've heard is every 1 inch overgrowth is $10. For me, it's usually like $25 minimum. If you're a corner lot, it might be $40, $50, $75 to clean up those edges that are overgrown. That is not included with any service that we do. So just because, people sign up, we pick them up as a customer, we mow the lawn, we edge, and they drop us, and then you realize they just wanted you to edge for free. And your little $30 cut does not cover the half hour you were there grinding the corner lot of all the sidewalks and driveway and took 2 trash bins worth of sod away in your truck and your flatbed. Okay, little pro tip there, something I didn't know for a decade. And so, man, saving you guys hopefully so much time and headaches and frustration. So here's the deal. As we go into talking about edgers, buying the best one is critical because you do need that muscle to slice through, especially if you're grinding something out for a half hour or 20 minutes. The engines are going to just burn up. They get hot. You want as much torque and power as you can. So they're not cheap. I'll be honest with you guys. And a good edger is north of 300. I think 379 to 399 for a lot of the Red Max ones. We have had a lot of luck with straight shaft. I don't really like the bent shaft. You might find that you or your employees like the bent shaft edgers if you're a little bit taller. Or you don't like the debris getting shot at your feet. For me, the ergonomics of an edger suck no matter which edger you use. I think it's the most awful design. I don't know why they're designed the way they are, because you always lift them up over your shoulder, or you're resting them on your shoulder, and you're going to blow out your shoulder after a decade, sort of like me, and it just kind of gets a little old, right? So like use it underhand, if you will, and walk it forward as much as you can. But some guys like straight shaft, some guys like bent shaft edgers. For me, I like a straight shaft edger. I think it's just the power goes right to the head, and you get the most torque out of it. And so when you're talking about how to start a lawn care business, your 4 core products, your 4 core items, you got your mower, you got your trimmer, you got your blower, and then you got your edger. Now, I guess we can dance around. We got about 4 or 5 more minutes. If you want to dance around accessory items and services and skills, when you talk about where to invest next, right? You got your trimmers, like your hedge trimmers. Steel makes some great ones. Red Max, they do as well, but there's not a lot of safety guards on them. And if you're new, I'd probably not encourage you to get the Red Max ones just because they're more of a pro grade unit. Echo has a lot of great hedge trimmers. I have an Echo 2420, I think it is. It might be replaced by the time this comes out with the new 2420 line, so don't quote me. But Steel HC56C, that thing is like a lightsaber through a lot of thinner pruning. So hedge trimmers are great. That's another thing to invest in. Chainsaws, if you're gonna do chainsaws, you can get a gas one, but unless you're doing a lot of dedicated tree work, I wouldn't get a gas one. I'd get a battery chainsaw. And it's probably the only time you'll hear me recommend battery is on hedge trimmers and chainsaws. But like for example, Steel has that MSA 200 chainsaw. Literally one of the best. I've used a lot of chainsaws. That's one of the best chainsaws I've ever used. It's a battery one. It's a machine. Just be super careful, man, with battery chainsaws. Instant torque, instant chain rotation, and last I heard from Mark Parker, 60 miles an hour is how fast that chain spins. So anyway, and then the last thing that kind of round out the arsenal is the combi tools. So later in your business, you might want to invest in like a bed redefiner for mulch beds and garden beds. The Echo 2620 line is, I think, what it is now. It might be like the PB 2620, something like that. It used to be the PAS 280 system. Now, it's a good system if your dealer only sells Echo and that's what you have access to. Awesome. You can't go wrong with it. If they're side by sides, I'm just gonna be honest. If your dealer sells both, I'm probably going to the Steel Combi 131. I just feel like it has a little bit more power, but I also think the bed redefiner is the best compared to the Echo head. I feel like the Echo head shoots it inward, is a little bit more messy. I feel like the Steel one shoots it outward, which is what I'm looking for. In just my experience and just my opinion, that's where it's at. Again, by the way, there's no sponsor ads here. There's no sponsored, I'm not trying to subvertly sell anybody's product or promote anybody's product. In fact, we've taken no money from any of these people that we've talked about for any sponsored content that I can talk about besides Xmark. Xmark's a partner of ours and we have a brand deal with them, but I've never done a dime of sponsored content for Echo, Red Max, or Steel, just so you guys know. So I wish I got a 5% or a 1% kickback on all of that stuff, but anyway, just having fun. So I can just talk to you guys just like low key, just talking to you guys like as a friend and as another lawn bro about equipment. So anyway, as you round out your equipment arsenal, a good hedge trimmer, a good chainsaw, a good combi tool, those are all great options for you guys. So how to start a lawn care business, and how to go full time is something I'm going to do on another episode. So maybe this will be a 1-2 punch. That'll be something on the next series. Is when do you go full time? Like if you have a job, there's a lot of things I can weigh in on that one and try to help you bring that boat as close to the dock before you jump. You know what I mean? And so that way you have the best chance of success. But when a lot of folks say like, what do you need to start a lawn care business, or how do you start a lawn care business? Let me take you back. Last story I'll share with you guys and we'll wrap this up. When I was 16, 17 years old, before I went to work at before I went to work at Little Caesars, I was cutting grass and I had a pretty good hustle going on. And actually, let me take that back. When I was 19 and I got fired from Little Caesars, I'm just trying to remember my timeline here. I was fired from Little Caesars. I went back to cutting grass. I had my little Hyundai Elantra. It's a 2002. I wish I had I have a couple photos. They'll never make it on the internet because I was so embarrassed. Okay. Hyundai Elantra GLS 2002. I bought it with 30,000 miles. At this point, I probably had 60, 70, 80. And, God, it was such a birth control, like modern day birth control. Like it was just nobody, I had friends wouldn't even drive with that thing with me. You know what I'm saying? But it had a moonroof because, I was big time. And so I'm just having fun here, but I remember when I was trolleying around in my trailer park, and again, for you guys that know me, know that I grew up super humble, okay? Like, we weren't like destitute or, poor, but like, dude, we didn't have money. We didn't have no name brand anything, no name brand clothing. I didn't have designer anything. I didn't even know malls existed, okay? I was just so closeted, okay? So I didn't grow up with anything nice. And so that's always been my motivation, my hustle, is to like, make money. I wanted to get rich. I wanted to be, wealthier. I didn't want to be lower middle income my whole life. And if you guys get started that way, maybe you can relate. But I remember just the hustle, man, just the grind. If I can just be honest with you guys, like I'm not anything special, but I'll tell you guys straight out, man. I know what it's like to work. I know what it's like to hustle. I know what it's like to shed a few tears, a lot of tears. I know what it's like to see everybody else around you succeeding, and you just feel like sometimes it's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. You know what I mean? And I remember just getting laughed at, dude, just getting poked fun of. People just make fun of you. And I had my little green lawnmower back in the day with the high rear wheels. A little 5.5 horsepower thing that I had bought back with my quote unquote old school little business when I was like 10 to 15 years old, 10 to 16, before I got a big boy job at Little Caesars. I was a crew member, right? Because that's what I thought you did. And I remember loading that thing in the back of my Hyundai. I destroyed the lip of the trunk and the lip of the bumper because, I was a soaking wet 130-pound, strong man back then. Looked like I, was in the Ironman contest. And I just remember lifting that thing up and throw it in the back of my trunk, and it wedged in there pretty well. Didn't even bungee the thing. My trunk is looking like a spoiler. I got my white Hyundai, my gray rims. I had a little sound system back in the day. Talk about priorities. I had my little sound system because I was hot trash. Just having fun. I was just going down doing the trailer park thing, and just a product of my environment. Okay. And I say that jokingly. Okay. Like if you start that way, dude, you can get out of that mess too. And that was my motivation. Hopefully you guys can appreciate just being candid and honest with you. And I remember throwing my weed whips in the back seat. I remember throwing my weed whips in the front seat. I remember throwing my little handheld blower. Man, looking back on it, I did have like a little orange handheld blower. I don't even know what it was. Little Echo PB, 2620, little handheld one, whatever it was. This is 10 years ago, obviously. And I'd have my little gas can, man. And I just knew like I was in business. Like I was so proud of myself. And for some of you guys that see like the fancy truck and Thunder and, it's a Lariat trim with the lights and the LED package and this $9,000 snowplow. Dude, I didn't get started. It was $7,000 snowplow. Like I didn't get started with any of that mess. Not a dime, not an ounce, no money, everything was on credit. I remember buying that 48-inch Viking walk behind, man. And I made 3 payments of like $1,750. I think it was $1,750, and then like $2,200 or something like that. I remember dude, straight up my first 2 months, I paid $1,750. The next month I made $1,750. I had an off month, and then I made a payment for like $200, and then I made another payment for like 2,200 or whatever it was, and I finished it off. I didn't have any overhead. I was living at home. I was 2021. And I just wanted to pay that debt off as fast as I could. And I've always been a pay it off in 90 days or less kind of guy. Anything I buy, and we finance things like trailers and stuff. And, we've had different reasons for taxes and different suggestions from our CPAs, right? So sometimes we let things go for, a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, but I remember just, toting around my little push mower, dude, in my trailer park. And, my friends are 16, they're 17, they're 20, they're 22, and people just making fun, dude. People just making fun. Brian, the little long hair boy, Mr. Mexican, right? And I'm not, making any statements here. I'm just being real. And there's a lot of Mexicans in my town cutting grass, and Brian's got his little long hair business. And you hear Brian's cutting grass? Yeah, he got fired from Little Caesars. And man, I know what it's like to feel like a loser. I know. I remember getting fired, and I was talking to some friends some of my life coaches and folks behind the scenes that nobody's ever really met or heard. And, it'd be one day cool to have some folks on the scenes that mentored me, some family friends that are a little bit older, their 40s. And, I remember calling them and I said, dude, I'm hurting, man. Like I was crying. I'm like, man, this sucks. I know what it's like to not have a dollar to your name and to be afraid. And, thank God I didn't have a girlfriend or a wife or kids. God, I don't even know what I would do. And so when you guys DM me or shoot me, 10 paragraph emails and throw up on me with your life story, you better believe, man, I take the time to read those and respond. I don't blow anything off. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that to you guys. And I don't have every answer in the world, man, but anything I can do to help you guys out, I'm going to do that. And what's the motivation behind it? I don't know, man. I'm blessed to be a blessing. I don't own any of this. I'm just a steward of it. So I just want to do a good job with it. Okay. There's the ulterior motive. I just want to do a good job. And, maybe one day when I'm in heaven and, God says, hey, well done, good and faithful servant. Okay. So there's the MO. I just want to do a good job. I've been put in this position. Why? I have no idea. I just want to help you guys. And so I know what it's like to struggle, man. I know what it's like to feel like crap and somebody pop your balloon. I was Mr. Little Caesars, okay? I would have been a vice president at that company. I would have been the president of Little Caesars in 15 years if I had my way. I was militant. I was crazy. I worked for free. I was nuts, okay? My numbers, my stores, my everything. I was the cat's meow. And they were short-sighted by letting me go. Because I would have been a corporate guy. I would have sold out to that thing. But, God had a bigger plan. But, man, I know what it's like I said earlier, to not have any money and to be toting that little push mower around and just scraping the hell out of my paint on my car and know what it's like. And to buy my first truck, right, which we could do a whole nother podcast on trucks. But I know what it's like to buy my first truck. Quick story on that one. I was working at Trugen one day. I was the sub in my branch. So somebody didn't come in. I took that guy's tanker truck, did his route for the day, and that's where I learned all the street names of Metro Detroit. It's just having fun because, man, from Brighton, Michigan to Westland, Michigan to Livonia to Redford to Canton, Northville, Walled Lake, Howell, Brighton, you name it. I've been down every road. I've fertilized every single person's dang house and this, 150,000, 200,000 people in my area. So it's funny, man, but I've seen everybody's backyard. And so I remember buying my truck literally on a lunch break. I covered a route over in Livonia, Michigan. Anybody knows Bill Brown Ford? I had found on the internet like 2 days before that they had a crew cab, red F-150. I knew exactly what I wanted, man, because I was in business for myself, dude. I was 22, 23 years old. I knew exactly what I wanted, man. I wanted that red truck. I wanted a truck. I dreamed about having a truck of my own. I've always wanted a truck. I got stuck with a car. So, and I remember just walking in one day on my lunch break, full PPE, dude. They're probably like, who the hell is walking through the door? They probably thought I was a technician, spraying the boulevard or something like that on, some Grand River, whatever roads over that way, right? 6 Mile, 5 Mile, I don't know, Merriman. And, it's funny, and I just remember talking to the guy. I think his name was Mo or something like that. I'm like, hey Mo, I need a lawn, or I need a truck for my lawn business. He's like, what's the budget? I'm like, you already got it. You already got my truck. It's a red one. I think I negotiated it for like 10 grand or something like that. He's like, yeah, we can do it. I'm like, I got 45 minutes, and I had like a half hour, but I'm like, I got 45 minutes. I'll stretch this one. I want to buy this truck right now. He's like, all right. So we ran numbers, we ran credit, we ran everything right there. I mean, literally, I bought a truck on my lunch break. Didn't even have an option of taking it home. I said, he goes, well, how are you taking it home? I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thursday's your late night day, right? Yeah. All right. I get done at 3 or 4 o'clock. My mom will drive me over there or my brother maybe back then. And I went and got my truck, and it wasn't fancy, man. It was a 2000, God, I'm already kind of forgetting, which sucks, but it was like a 2002 F-150 crew cab, 4.6 XLT Triton motor, little baby V8, had 72,000. The truck was 5 years old, maybe back then, when I got it in like 2007 or something like that. And I think it was like a lease, it was like perfect. Like it was exactly 6 years and 72,000 miles. So I was like, well, maybe somebody put 12,000 miles a year for 5 years, and maybe it was a Ford lease or a Ford executive or who knows what, right? And that was my dream, dude. I had my red truck, and I remember getting my little utility trailer. I had my little utility trailer from Tractor Supply, and eventually upgraded that from my brother's Durango to my truck with my little Sure Track trailer. I met the Kelly and Sons folks, and whole nother story for a whole nother time. Got my little 6.5 by 12 utility 2-inch tube top, the whole deal, man. And I that was Brian's Law Maintenance as you guys know it. 1.0, but that was Brian's Law Maintenance 2.0 to me. That's when I jumped on YouTube back in 2016, man. And I had my little rickety racks, my little racks from Lowe's. We didn't have Green Touch. We didn't have Equipment Defender. We didn't have any of that mess, okay? I had them like welded on. A friend welded them on because they kept breaking off. And had my little trailer, had my little sign that I got from my print shop. And you know what, dude? I felt like I was running Brightview, okay? I felt like I was running a $10 million company. And here's the deal. Here's the takeaway. If I can do it, you can do it. For crying out loud, how many times you got to hear people see other people succeed and then wonder when are you going to write your name into the lineup? That's what I ask you. If you're on the fence, get your ducks in a row. Don't just punch the boss in the face tomorrow and walk out of that place. Okay, don't do that. But be strategic. When is it your turn? When is it your turn to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough? I want to be my own boss. I know I can work hard. I know I can talk to people. I know I can pass out flyers. I know with Brian's 600 videos, and there's probably 10,000 videos in the lawn care community. I'm sure you can invest 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 hours watching some videos. You're like, oh, dude, I don't even know what videos to watch. I don't know which ones to sift through. Don't get lazy on me. Just because it's available and it's easy access, don't think that you're not going to have to work hard. Okay, even if they're just watching YouTube videos and you got to pull a dang legal pad out and take notes about what somebody says, or you buy a training program. We have our largest package, the whole ball of wax. I think it's $449. It's like $600 or $700 worth of training programs. So you know how many people actually invest in that? We sell quite a few of those because people want a career change. People want to get all the info, all the knowledge. They go all in. And, with the promo code podcast or whatever, it's 10% off. You kidding me? $400, you can learn the whole industry in, 6, 8, 10 hours worth of all the videos there. Freaking miracle, dude. It took me 10 years to learn all that stuff. And so if you're nervous or you don't know what to do or you're wondering how to start a lawn care business, there's your answer, man. That was my roadmap. Start with a good mower. That's going to be your anchor, okay? Find a good trimmer. Definitely invest in a good blower. When you can, find a good edger. Buy used stuff if you need to, man. Shop around Craigslist, spring open houses. Find your buddy he's getting rid of his because he's upgrading to something new. Man, I use so much leftover people's equipment. It's not even funny. Still had a season out of it, man, I'll take it. It just needs the engine cleaned up, I'll clean it up. Still needs a new, spool or trimmer head or, trigger or something like that. I'll fix it, man. I'll figure it out. I'll jump on YouTube. I'll get the email schematic and, put it all back together. That's Humpty Dumpty. I'll do all that, so just get resourceful is what I would say. You don't have to get the best new $10,000 trailer. Man, I had an $800 trailer from Tractor Supply, and man, again, you would have thought I had a $12,000 8.5 by 24 gas tank built in, lights and LEDs, bathroom, urinal stall thing built in, with a folding table and propane tanks for the microwave and the stove for the guys on the crew so they don't have to leave the mall that they're cutting for 12 hours straight that day with a team of 5, guys in the F750. I mean, that's what I thought I had going down the road. That's how much pride I put into my business. And you know what? That's how much pride I put into my work. That's how much pride I took into cutting grass, and I still do. Now, I care less because we're just so busy running around, but we still do a good job, man. I don't forget that we're still there to take care of somebody's lawn. We're still there to give somebody back their weekend. We're still there to help somebody not have to worry about the stress and the headaches of being outdoors. And when you lose that, you lose the business because you forget what you're doing. You forget what it's all about. You're there to take care of people, to be a service business, and to service somebody, and to serve somebody, and to take care of them. And, of course, along the way, we learned about pricing. Of course, along the way, we learned about budgets. Of course, along the way, we had to get our numbers right. We got our branding better. We got our marketing better. We kept reinvesting. And yeah, we have way nicer stuff. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm more comfortable, but I'm not, my life isn't easier. Okay. My life is more comfortable, but it's not easier. We still sweat like you guys sweat, and you're going to sweat. We still have bad days. We get mowers stuck just like you guys do. So I'm happy and I'm thankful, but don't forget for a minute. The last thing I'll leave you with is a quote that, I'm pretty notorious for saying and echoing, is that, success is not something that you own. It's something that you rent, and the rent is due every single day, right? You never own success. You can only rent it, and the rent is due every single day. And so whether you're just getting your business started and you want to know how to start a lawn care business, or you've been running one for a while, guys, I'm telling you what, keep paying dues, keep reinvesting, keep making it happen, keep chasing your dream. You know what I mean? Just because you get your first stuff doesn't mean it's going to be your last stuff. And I'm so excited about you guys that are kicking butt and continue to grow and continue to reinvest and continue to make it happen. Because I'm watching you guys on Instagram. I'm watching you guys on YouTube. We're all in this together. Again, I always say this, man, we're all in this together. And I love just talking lawn care. As dorky as it is, man, I get done cutting grass at 5 o'clock at night. I get home, I decompress, I do a little of this, a little of that, get dinner, create content for YouTube or whatever. And then, 10 o'clock at night, wife is laying down. She's on Instagram or whatever, doing her thing. And sometimes we're watching a movie. Sometimes I'm watching you guys. Sometimes I'm watching you guys on YouTube and Instagram and having fun. And just, it makes me happy seeing you guys grow your companies. And what really gets me going, it really makes me happy, is when you guys make upgrades, is when you guys, reinvest in the business, when you guys grow your business and you go from a crappy trimmer to a nice trimmer, from a crappy blower to a nicer blower, from a starter mower to the nicest mower, from the little trailer to the enclosed trailer, from the starter truck to the nicer truck. And you know what? When you go from, not being able to take care of your family to taking care of your family, when you go from, working your guts out, not knowing your numbers, to knowing your numbers, making good profit, and now you can kind of throttle back on that work a little bit, and you can start, making it to your kids' baseball games and your kids' basketball games. That's the stuff that matters most to me. So, guys, I could talk all day. You guys know that. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Again, if you guys haven't hit a 5-star review, I don't know what you're waiting for. I appreciate not just because of what I say, okay? Just because you guys appreciate yourself. Okay, if you hit 5 stars, it's a reflection of you, how much you love you and how much you appreciate you and how much you just appreciate what I'm trying to do. So if you guys hit a 5-star review, you want to leave a couple sentences, just say, hey man, thanks for the content. Love you, brother. Praying for you. Keep doing what you're doing with the podcast. Hopefully we're changing lives, man. And that's what it's all about. So, man, what a candid little honest conversation. This was good. This is completely unscripted. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Guys, this is another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And we hope to hear you and see you on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.